What's going on, guys? Thanks for jumping into this video today. I'm just going to bring you along and talk about some super beginner level concepts because I did an upgrade. All right, so I was looking at this truck today and I was like, how can I make this thing lighter? Well, we'll see. I need to stop using the word upgrade because not everything's an upgrade. So we're going to test and see if it's an upgrade. Yeah, dude, that sucks. But I swapped to a more LCG lightweight transmission. That's what it's called. And I realized I had this transmission sitting around that I've been trying to like trade for something. And I was like, dude, that is lots lighter than the VFD. Even though I do really like this transmission, this one is a lot lighter. So pulled it apart, was looking at how to make it work. I wasn't able to get the skid plate off because of this grub screws. Those things are the bane of my existence. I just designed this plate to adapt onto here. All right, well, I was able to get it in there. Transmission, so we're gonna take a look at a couple things. So what this transmission is going to have affected is the center of gravity, okay? So for those of you who are new to the channel, when it comes to crawlers, well, new to the hobby, when it comes to crawlers, you want your center of gravity to be as low as possible. If you can get your center of gravity between your wheels, your rig is gonna do very, very well. Now this truck, because it's got small wheels and a big old heavy body, my center of gravity is probably up pretty high. So you've got your center of gravity this way and this way, right? So by swapping transmissions, I actually moved my center of gravity back, which isn't ideal. You want about 60% of your weight on the forward end of your truck. Okay, so you want about a 60-40 weight bias. My upgrade, or my change rather, took my truck from 59-41 to like 56 or 54 front to whatever the back math is, rear. So it actually hurt me that way, but it should have lowered the overall weight of the truck, which heck, maybe that made it worse too. So the reason you want weight forward is because when you're climbing, if you have a lot of weight up here, it's going to help pull you down. As well as like if you're on this obstacle right here, you've got a lot of weight right here, which is buying you traction. But if your weight was back here more, your front end is going to get real tippy, okay? And it's the same concept. You know, the higher your weight, the more likely you are to roll when you get on angles, right? Like some vehicles can sit on end because the weight is so evenly distributed. So that's kind of what we're looking at today. So let's go ahead, let's get out here, hit the trail, and see how this affects things. The truck is about a ½ pound lighter than it used to be, which is pretty awesome. But let's see what effect that's actually going to play. I would ideally like to get this truck lighter all around. I think it could be really capable, but because it's heavy, it's hurting a little more than it needs to be. And talking about center of gravity in mind, the interior of this truck is pretty heavy. See, here's where that forward weight bias would help. It would be putting more pressure on the nose. So watch this. If I This is going to be extreme, but you see how it's I just can't get traction right. But if the front end was heavier, and now that was a lot heavier, right? But you can see now it crawled it because there's so much pressure up here. So this trail I'm running right now, it's called Link Riser. I named this trail Link Riser because I was testing a 3D printed Link Riser. Wow, that was nice. Hold that really well. I was testing a Link Riser when I broke it on this trail. Okay, so after my modifications yesterday, I did some couch tests, right? I drove around on some pillows. They're too tippy. Let's see if I can come down to this ledge. It performed well on the couch, so I wanted to see if I would end up breaking mainly the drive shaft on the front. No, the rear. The rear drive shaft is what I'm worried about. Got to come where it's a little less aggressive on the belly. I think I am experiencing some setbacks due to the weight being shifted further backwards, so that's kind of a bummer. I feel like this truck should hook up better on these uphills. But the VFD transmission that I had in here does a really good job at putting the motor forward. So I wonder if I may... No! I broke out a headlight. That needs to go right there. Dang it. It's because my body shifts around a little bit. Gotta be careful, Zach. The VFD does a really good job at getting the motor forward. So I may need to make some tweaks, because right now, the motor of this truck is sitting like right under the driver, which is not a great spot for it. Like I said, ideal weight bias is 60-40. Man, you guys, it is a beautiful day out here. Beautiful day. Let's see if we can get the hook with these landmines. So let's talk parts. For those of you who are new to the hobby, this truck is what we call more of the scale. This is a scale truck, which, like it sounds like, just means it looks more realistic. It's not a perfect class 1, which is a type of class for competition crawling. And this is not that, because it does have an angled skid, which is where the belly of the truck has an angle to it. This one has a 10-degree angle, which helps with performance a lot, but is technically a no-no. Nice, good pull. Dude, I feel like I had to struggle a lot more last time on that. But maybe I just got the line down better. So leave me a comment. How many of you are not new to the channel, but you decided to watch? Oh, there went my headlight again. How many of you are not new to the hobby? You knew all the things I was telling you and talking about, but you still watched it because you wanted to. I'd be curious, because I've found in my goal of getting 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I've noticed that my videos speaking to new topics or beginner topics, they tend to do better. They get more views. So I may start gearing a lot of my stuff towards that new side of the hobby, because it's also, I mean, I really like talking about things on the entry level side, because quite frankly, I am not a master in this hobby by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel my knowledge is very practical and simple. And so if I can share that with people that are new and learning, I find joy in that. So I know that my knowledge is not sufficient to hang with the people who are really knowledgeable. I get intimidated, to be honest. But I just try and learn. I try and learn from people that I know more than me. It seems like so far I've surrounded myself here in southern Utah with people who know more, which has been great. You know, I lean on those guys for advice all the time. People like Cameron from Desert RC. He is very knowledgeable. Damon, I just named a trail after him because he was the one that showed me the line. Those guys are they're studs and they know a lot. They've been doing this for a while. So it's always good to find people like that can help you out. And if I can be that for somebody, that's awesome. So I am seeing right now, I think, a very direct impact from adjusting my center of gravity. I could get this pole better before. So let's see if I give it a little bit of weight, what happens. And I am not giving it very much. Let's see, just barely. Just barely pushing on it. Yeah, dude, that sucks. So swapping transmission, that has hurt me. I think that has hurt me more than it has helped. Let's take a look at this so I can show you guys. So I showed you kind of while I was on the bench fiddling, but so you can see my motor sits way back here, whereas it used to sit up in here. So I wonder if there's a way that I can get this motor mounted. Dude, I think there could. I'm gonna need to do some major tweaking on my little skid plate adapter there. But I could shove this, and it's gonna cause issues with my drive shaft. That's probably gonna be my biggest limiting factor. As I scoot this forward, you see how close that is already. Dang, I wonder if it was worth all of that effort. I don't know. Drop me a comment, you guys. What do you think? All right, if you're new to the hobby, hopefully this video was helpful. And stay tuned. We got a fun one. We're talking rear steers in our next video. So stay tuned for that next Friday. We'll catch you later.